Hey guys, I'm Toon Rusty. I know this webcam quality is really bad, but this is all I've got. I am a student after all, so I don't really have much money to spend. So I hope you guys can deal with that. Today we're going to be talking about my experience I had in my first year accommodation. And as you can guess, it didn't go too well. A disclaimer will be I'll be showing pictures on the screen that some may find disturbing. Honestly, it's pretty disgusting. Do not watch this when you're eating. It won't end well. My flatmate I will be talking about, clearly has some sort of some form of autism. So what I'll be saying is no way an attack on him, but more so an attack on the people who were running the accommodation. They never gave him any help when he needed it, despite me going down several times to tell them about the situation and let them know what was happening. And lastly, what I'll be talking about is definitely an unlikely circumstance. If I was with two other people who were able to look after themselves properly, it would have been fine and a normal experience, and I'm sure I wouldn't be making this video. But that being said, let's go. Let me tell you. So at the end of August in 2017, I moved into my student accommodation. I was nervous and excited as I was about to start university. I ended up finding some accommodation that seems cheapish, but nothing too bad. It's fine for me. It had enough space for a desk and my computer, so that's really all I need because I'm a shut-in. There was 3 people in my flat last year, and that's fine because I'm not really social, so I don't want to interact with too many people anyway. So I move in and meet my flatmates, and everything seemed fine at first. And after a few days, I did notice that one of my flatmates didn't seem to be cleaning up after himself. But I decided to leave it for a bit because I thought it was going to be his first time away from home, and he was from another country far from here, so I was imagining he just needed some time to adjust, and I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. However, as the weeks got on, it did get worse. He'd leave pans out on the hob. I've got this written down, so I've got everything. I had to plan this out beforehand, so I'm looking over here at my notes. Yeah, he had pans out on the hob, plates and cutleries in the sink. Oil would also be all over the hob. He'd use way too much. He'd even take my oil. I barely used any oil for the whole year. I didn't really use any. I didn't really cook anything on the hob. And then at the end of the year, I noticed that all my oil had gone. He also took other bits of my food, as well as using my plates and cutlery. His rubbish would be chucked on the counter or overflowing the bins, which he never took out. This mess made me curious to see what his room would be like, and I was able to take a peek inside one time when he went to class and he left his door unlocked. It was a complete mess. There was food and rubbish all over the counter. His bed did not have sheets on it, or pillowcases, anything like that on it. And on the ground was a pair of shit-stained underwear, which was a real treat to witness. Where was I? Yeah, the smell was so bad I could not stay in there for long, lest I be sick. That's how bad it was. I could stay in there. There'll be a couple of pictures on screen showing all this. The smell did, however, permeate throughout the whole of the flat. The only safe haven was in my room, or my other flatmate's room, who was dealing with this as well. The smell was in the whole flat. It wasn't as bad as in his room. His room was just dire. It was manageable in the rest of the flat, but you could, if you walked in, you'd be able to just, there'll be something there. So not too nice to be living in. The window in the kitchen was permanently open for the year. We were elevated. We were like on the 2nd floor, so nobody could get in. But we did leave the window open, but that didn't really do anything. In our flat, we also shared a bathroom and a shower. Every time he went to the toilet, he would never flush afterwards, so I'd need to flush before I used it. He also ate such a bad diet. Every night I'd see him cooking dumplings. Well, every night I went in and saw him, he'd be cooking dumplings. There was always a disgusting smell in that bathroom, and I'd have to use a scented air freshener every time I went in there, and that did help, but it didn't really get rid of all of it. And now I've got a... I associate that air freshener with him and that bathroom, so I don't use it anymore. The shower and bath wasn't too bad, but that's only because he never used it. Throughout the whole year, I think I saw him use it maybe once or twice or 3 times, around about that. Less than once a month is when I saw him wash. And all the grime on the bath walls, the bath walls would have grime all on it from all the dirty water when he's washing himself, there'd be dirty water and it would be stuck on the walls afterwards. So I'd have to wash that when I saw that as well. And since he hardly washed, his body was obviously pretty filthy. So when he used the toilet, he would actually coat the lining of the seat from where he sat with like a black dirty substance. I really don't know what it was. It was just kind of sticking to the seat from where he sat. So I'd have to wash that every few days, or else I'd be sitting on filth as I take a shit, and I don't really want to be doing that. My door was directly opposite the toilet, so if I went out, I'm in my room and I go out to get something from the kitchen, and if he was on the toilet, I'd open the door and I'd just see him there sitting on the toilet because he would never lock the door. Although when he did see me, he did apologize and he would close the door then. Like, he recognized it was wrong, but only ever recognized it when someone saw him. It was weird, but that was the least of my troubles, to be fair. So yeah, I'd always try to avoid seeing him because I'm antisocial, but also because of the disgusting things I had to deal with. Less of that, the better. My room, I tried to keep clean, so that was where I stayed most of the time. Although on multiple occasions when I'd come back from a friend's house late at night, maybe like midnight, a bit later than that, and I'd go into the kitchen afterwards because usually I don't have dinner until I get home. I've seen him there by the hob cooking his meal on multiple occasions, and he'd just have his t-shirt on and nothing on the lower half. So I got to witness that, didn't I? It's not the nicest, but he would try and make small talk with me then, and it's just very awkward. I'd just try and get in and out as quickly as possible. And very weird. So all of this is happening, and I'm doing my best to be patient with him because I know it's not really his fault. So I go down to after about 1 or 2 months, I go down to the office and let them know about how there needs to be someone to check up on him every now and then. Because none of the staff members would ever go up and see if he was alright. To my knowledge, maybe they did, I didn't see it at all. And I'd tell them, I'd let them know what's going on, and they would respond with, "What flat are you in?" I'd tell them, and then they'd say, "Oh, is it him?" to another member of staff. And turns out that he had been living there for at least a year before that. And then I found out he was in 4th year economics, so he's been here for a few years at least. And then my other flatmate, the one who could look after himself and cleaned up after himself, he found some people who were living with the other guy from previous years and just told him about the same stuff I've just said, really, and how the staff members didn't really do anything for him. So yeah, it's an ongoing thing that the staff members at my accommodation did not seem to care about. So yeah, my hypothesis was that the accommodation would put them in with first years if they're less likely to complain. I don't know if that's actually the case, but I just feel like that could be the reason, because this was my first time away, and then I didn't really want to cause problems for everyone, basically, so I was keeping it to myself. But I did obviously go down because it does get too much. So yeah, when I did go down, they'd always say stuff like, "Oh yeah, I think we're going to get a cleaner next week," or "We'll look into it." but they never did, and it seems to have been just to buy time until we moved out. That did work though. We left the accommodation earlier than we could have. We of course cleaned up as much as we could, but since the other flatmate was staying there a lot longer than we were, he was staying there after we left, it was obviously going to get quite messy again, and there's nothing we could really do about that. When our contract was up, at least according to my other flatmate, when they were looking into getting the deposit back, they messaged him, or they let him know saying, you're not getting your deposit back because the flat's in an unreasonably untidy condition. But then my other flatmate just let them know that, yeah, it's not our fault, and you know, he ripped into them, let him know that he was getting his deposit back. So when I went to get my deposit back, it was fine, there was no problems. And yeah, that was it. So all in all, pretty shit first year at uni accommodation. They never did anything to help anyone in our flat. I thought they could get away with it. But luckily this year I'm in much nicer set of accommodation, so that's been going well. And I just hope that the other guy who needs the help gets the help he needs. And I just hope he's doing okay now, because it's not his fault. Again, it's not his fault, it was just the accommodation's uncaringness, is that a word? I should have checked if that's a word. But the fact that they didn't care is kind of the problem here. But again, in most cases it would be fine even if they didn't care. It's just the fact that I got a combination of someone who was unable to look after themselves and staff that didn't care at all. But yeah, that's it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope I've not put people off their meals, but I just kind of felt like sharing this, even though I've not been in that flat for like half a year. I just wanted to, I just felt like making a video. So yeah, feel free to follow me on Twitter, all that shit's in the description, and I hope you guys have a good day. See ya.